There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. And my name is Kevin, and Brichelle is right there. Brichelle, how are you?
I'm good, Kevin. We've had such a phenomenal week with nothing but high energy. So I'm about ready to wind down, and we get to kind of do that today.
Are you kidding me? Well, we've got the Super Bowl this weekend, and that's going to be a big deal, too.
I don't know. I'll have to still decide if I want to be involved in that, watching it rather than just seeing what happens at the end. But we'll be excited either way. So
exactly. And Rochelle, I have to ask you,
yes.
Do you own your true identity?
I'd like to think so.
Well, our guest today, whose name is Glenn Beechy. I said that right. Did I not, Mr. Beechy?
Perfect.
By the way, nice hat and nice lion you have in the background.
Yeah. We're going on a safari today with our talk with him. He works with he has a website, royalty-coaching.com, which we get to learn all about, and also a book out. People go check it out, A Warrior's Path to Freedom. So, Mr. Beechy, it is so nice to have you here. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm just getting over having a little bit of a sickness, but I'm good. I'm good.
I'm glad you're getting over it.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. Well, it is that time of year, after all.
Yeah, it is. But
So tell us, Glenn, how you've been doing this for a while. What got you involved in coaching people and helping people find out what their true identity is? Because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you were to ask people, what's your true identity? They'd say, well, I know what I am. I know what that is, until they don't. Do you find that a lot of people have no earthly idea what their true identity is?
yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. And I think that you could ask, I don't know this statistically, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you could ask over 50% of population if they know their identity. And some of them would say, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them might say, yeah, I do. I'm sure I do. And I'm going to say, going out on a limb, that over 50% of people don't know their true identity for numerous reasons. And I believe we're going to talk about that today. Numerous reasons. Why do people lose their identity? Why do people not know who they are and what they want to stand for? What they stand for? Who are they? Who are they really? Like, there's so many reasons in society these days why people lose their identity. And the reason I am passionate about it is because of some things that I've been through in my life and still go through even now, because we're in kind of a crazy society now. We're kind of in a,
Well, only if you watch the news or walk down the street or drive in your car or any because there's weirdness everywhere these days. And it's interesting because when you talk about knowing your own identity, and Rochelle and I have talked to a bunch of folks about this, and a lot of it is the stories that people tell us that we tend to believe, or the stories we tell about ourselves that are not based in fact. They're based in a story that is that kind of right?
Yes, a lot of things are not based in a fact, just like you said. A lot of things are a farce or a story. It's people try to build their lives on stories that are not based on any kind of fact. They're just stories. They're just, maybe not even stories is maybe not even the word, maybe more like entertainment. Like, people want to be entertained so much these days. People want to be entertained and not get too deep, because you might step on my toes. You might hurt my feelings a little. You might offend me. Let's not be offensive here. Well, the truth is sometimes offensive. Sometimes the truth hurts for a minute until you embrace it, is what I say. I don't always like truth. I really don't like truth all the time. But here's what I do like. I like the freedom that it gives you at the end.
Yeah.
So if I said that you have a nice hat, that would be truth. And but you're right, because we can all get offended. Now, Brichelle has learned so much in the last couple of years that the story she used to tell herself is not the story of the person she is today. Would that be true, Brichelle?
Yeah. And I realized too that a lot of it was driven from fear, because then if I did know fully who I was, that means I had to fully embrace who I was. And it also forced me the question of asking myself why about everything instead of asking everyone else. I had to ask myself why this, why that, why this, why that. And um, all of that in total just made me scared. And I knew what I needed to do. I just wouldn't do it. Why do people do that?
That's a great question, Brichelle. First off, let me say this.
I never figured it out. So I have to ask you.
This is my experience in life. Sometimes we don't ask the correct questions. You might, I mean, what I've learned in life is sometimes we ask why. Asking why is okay to a degree, but don't continue to ask why if you don't get the answer year after year, month after month. You might switch up that question to what? What can I do to get past whatever it is that I am struggling with? Whatever it is you're struggling with, whatever it is that you want an answer to, what can I do different instead of why? Because here's sometimes what I've figured out for myself is when I keep asking why, the universe will continue to show me why.
Yes.
The universe will just continue to show me, regurgitating why. Here's why, this is why, this is why, this is why. But it never really gets to what is more of an action word, maybe. Because, what, if you ask, what can I do? What should I do? What should I change in my life? What should I do? And continue asking that. Finally, the universe will show you what to do. Now, you may not like the answer. You probably won't like the answer.
Yep.
Most likely you won't.
Yeah. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
When we don't like the answer, that's one reason why I lost my identity years ago in the garbage that I was involved in, addictions, alcoholism, trying to buy myself out of debt, all the things. And it's like, why, going back to your question, why can't I not get out of debt? Why can't I figure out this thing of money? What's the deal that I can't? See, the better question would have been, what do I need to do different so that I can get out of this poverty mindset, instead of asking myself, why am I always broke? Why do I not understand how to handle my money better? Why? Well, the universe kept showing me why, but it never, you got to ask the better question.
Yeah. And that it's almost like a transition question. And I see what you're saying, and I have to tell you that you are so spot on. And I now fully understand, because there was a shift. I remember the day and where I was and what I was doing. It was just in the middle of the day. And after all of these whys, there was that, well, what am I going to do? I remember that going through my head. What am I going to do? And then all of a sudden I put together this vision and this plan, but then I put action into it and it happened. and it wasn't as hard. It didn't take as long, but I was so scared and I held myself back so hard, really, for not a reason that mattered, even though I thought so at the time.
Yeah, and you keep bringing this thing of being scared and dealing with fear and stuff. You keep bringing that up. You know, often we as human beings on this planet are scared and fearful of something that is completely out of our control. And whether we're scared or not, the same outcome is going to be tomorrow, next month, next year. The outcome is going to be the same whether you were scared or not. But that's not totally true. But to a degree, it is. But what I'm saying is, the only thing you would have to lose by not being fearful is have faith. The only thing you would have to lose is the bad, because fear brings a lot of other friends with it. Fear has a lot of friends. Fear has a lot of buddies, you might say. So the only thing you have to lose is a lot of bad by just releasing the fear and putting faith in its place. You know, you got to use the F word every now and then, you know. You got to what it's going to be. It's going to be faith or fear. I mean, everybody else thinks the F word. Oh, what are you talking about? No, I mean, you know, faith or fear. I mean, there's many other, but faith or fear, you choose. It's a lot of things. We're scared of things that you can be as fearful about it as you want to and worry yourself sick. It ain't going to change anything in a positive way by fearing it or worrying.
Yep.
You know,
it's
there's
comfortability, and it's okay to be uncomfortable. That's exactly what I was trying to pull out of you. So thank you for saying that.
And one of the things, have you ever seen that T-shirt that says "Question everything"?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at its fundamental root, if you question everything, that means that you believe in nothing. And so consequently, you're scared of everything, because now everything that you're questioning, you need to change everything. And that can be daunting, can't it, Beechy?
Yes. That can be done.
Because it's like, I got to change this. I got to change that. That means I'm not who I am. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not even who I know what to be. So now what do I got to do? Well, I got to go see Glenn Beechy. That's what I got to go do.
Yeah.
I'll give you answers you don't want to hear. And, you know, speaking of losing your identity, excuse me. One reason we lose our identity is because we choose to not face the truth. And we go over here and we keep asking the question, why this, why that? Why is this happening to me? Oh my gosh, woe is me. If we would face the truth sooner and do something about it and ask the what question and then act on the truth and start building on a solid foundation, you're going to figure out a lot sooner who you really are in your identity if you face the truth, because truth is and always will be freeing. It won't be freeing right at the minute, that very minute, but in the future, in the very near future, it will bring freedom, because the truth always will set you free. It didn't say, the Bible doesn't say, if you read the Bible, it doesn't say how soon it will set you free. It just says truth will set you free. But we want instant gratification. We don't want to wait, you know.
That's how we live, is instant gratification city. And we don't, it didn't used to be that way, but everything happens so fast now with us, with the phones and with the social media and all that stuff. It all happens so fast. By the way, we are talking with Glenn Beechy and Rochelle. If you want to go to his website, how do you get that done?
You go to the search bar on your phone or your computer or wherever you can, because everything's digital now. Royalty-coaching.com is where to go. He has his homepage about and what to expect, which we're going to talk about when we come back from this break. And also another thing for you to check out, don't forget, he has a book called A Warrior's Path to Freedom that is available on Amazon and all the other fun places. So go get that for yourself. And we'll be back to talk about what it all is.
And when we come back, I would like to touch on your journey through addictions, because I know at one point in time you probably said, as you reached for another beer out of the refrigerator, I probably ought to stop doing this at one point or another. But we'll talk about that when we come back. So stay with us, everybody. You're listening to Positive Talk on the Brushwood Media Network. Do you want your child to develop lifelong emotional skills as well as academic ones? We teach kids how to read, how to count, how to behave. But what if we taught them how to understand themselves? Abracadabra by Terry Bean is a gentle reminder for children and adults that emotions aren't something to fix. They're something to listen to through imagination instead of instruction. This beautifully written story helps children feel seen, safe, and understood. It builds emotional awareness, self-trust, and the kindness without screens or pressure. Paired with the companion creativity book, reflection becomes expression, and lessons become lasting tools. If you want to nurture emotional confidence, calm, and creativity, this is where it begins. This isn't screen time. This is connection time. This is storytelling with purpose and a sprinkle of magic. Buy Abracadabra today and give a child tools they can carry for a lifetime. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and Rochelle is right there. And Rochelle, how are you today in the beautiful mountains of Salt Lake City?
Kevin, it's 60 degrees outside. It makes me want to go and run around. Isn't that crazy?
Somebody
February.
I know. Somebody told me it was February. I find that hard to believe. 60 degrees?
Yes, I really hope that it impacts the fishing in a positive way, because this weather is making me think that's all I need to be doing.
Oh, very good. And we're talking with Glenn Beechy, and his information again, Rochelle, is?
Yes, his website is royalty-coaching.com. We can go there to find out all about him and the work he does. Also, his book, A Warrior's Path to Freedom, you can look up on Amazon and go get for yourself. He's holding it up if you're watching on the screen. It is absolutely stunning. And stay throughout the show, because we're going to talk about the journey through that book.
And Glenn, it's great to have you here. And I want to introduce you to a friend of the show, if I can. And he's in a whole nother country. Can I do that real quick?
Yep. Absolutely.
Rochelle?
Hi, Samuel. He says, hello. Receive warmest greetings from Kyberia Restoring Hope Center, Brother Kevin, Sister Rochelle, and guest Glenn Beechy. Thanks for highlighting our weekly feeding program to the world. God bless you, team for hosting different inspirational guests. Together we are one, and together we are strong. And he is not lying. We have so many things in our lives that are inspirational, and sometimes we just don't share it and talk about it with other people, so we can't really use it to inspire. But Glenn is here to do that with us today. And Kevin, I believe you had a question about his journey that is exactly that.
Well, and by the way, and if you're not watching this on YouTube, he's wearing a black t-shirt with white letters that says "Never give up." And that we need to put that on t-shirts too, Rochelle.
Okay.
No, back
We're
says.
taking it.
Oh, what's that? What? And the back says?
Get lined up here.
Oh, that's cool.
What's it say, Rochelle?
I can't tell. Glenn, what does it say? What's your
Destiny.
destiny? Oh, wow.
What is your destiny?
And that, by the way,
Cool.
is a question that every human, in my humble opinion, because I asked it myself, why am I here and what am I here to do? That is a question that we all ask at one point in our lives. Sometimes, as in Brachelle's case, it's earlier. Sometimes it's in your 40s. Sometimes it's in your 60s or 70s. But eventually, that question comes up. And is up in your experience, Glenn?
Very much so. Because back before I figured out the power of identity, forgiveness versus unforgiveness, all those things, and the truth versus being a fake, being faking it till you make it, I mean, okay, if you want to do that, that's okay, but don't live there too long. Fake it till you make it. You'll lose your identity right there. Sometimes faking it till you make it can be okay for a very little bit, but you better not stay there, because your destiny, speaking of your destiny, you will end up where you don't freaking want to be. You'll end up where you don't want to be.
And when it says fake it till you make it, and then you make it, are you then convinced that you've been faking it the whole time and so you don't deserve it?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer.
I'm not sure I can say that again, quite frankly.
I'm like, wow.
Just here's the deal. Ask the question, what can I do, instead of why, and then embrace the truth, even if it hurts. It will stop hurting, I assure you. It will stop hurting eventually once you get past the reaping and sowing, because you're going to reap for a period the bad seeds that you sowed. Now, I believe canceling bad seeds, and the way that I experienced that personally was by repenting for the bad seeds that I sowed. That's how I canceled them before they came into full maturity. But if you don't ever repent, you're gonna reap all the bad seeds until you repent. That's the law of the universe, whether you want to believe it or not. That's the hard truth. Go to what is your destiny. And speaking of these T-shirts where they say "never give up" and then the back says "what is your destiny," I'm actually going to be selling these T-shirts online in the very near future here on my website.
And you can go to his website again. It's not there yet, but check back every week. And Brachelle, the website again is
Yes, royalty-coaching. So watch out for that, people. Save it in your little Savari thingy.
He's going to have merch on his website. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yep. And you can find this book on Amazon, and I'm also going to be selling it on my website here in the next probably 30 to 60 days. Awesome. I'm going to have the website, but you can find it on Amazon right now. But anyway, speaking of identity, Kevin, why do people lose their identity? Social media is one reason. We all know that, but we sit around and we talk about it. But what are we doing about it? Talking about it is fun and it's entertaining. But the deal is, until we get off our behinds and do something about helping, like, I have a real passion for helping the next generation, the teenagers, if you will, that live on social media. The teenagers right now, like my 18-year-old, I don't think he remembers a time when there was not Facebook and Instagram. I don't think he remembers a time. I do. Mm-hmm. Do remember when that was not a thing. But he doesn't. So the thing that I always got to tell myself, the teenagers this day and age, we got to have some compassion for them because they don't know any different. But that still doesn't change the truth. The truth still is you need to live out your own identity and not get on social media so much that you want to be like all your friends, so-called friends on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the things. The teenagers are losing their identity because of that, because they want to be like someone else. Here's the deal. Be like someone else that's faking it on social media. That's not their real life that they're putting on social media. That's why we, or the teenagers these days, even adults too, want to be that person. Well, guess what? That person is fake as the day is long. He's putting his fake life on social media and making you think that he lives on some planet somewhere that's not planet Earth, that is just perfect. He has a perfect life, and then they put all these filters on, and it's okay. Get rid of the filters. Just be authentic. Just be you.
Mm-hmm. I remember. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, I remember when I was a kid and the neighborhood was loud because there was no phones. Now everything in our minds is loud. It's not outside. And I don't know, there was a lot of girls I remember growing up, and I was like the ugly duckling, and I remember being, I want to be like them. I want to be pretty like them. I had those thoughts, but I was around them actually in person. And when I saw them out and how they played with other things and what they said about other girls, and I really actually got to know them behind this screen of my own thoughts. And I'm like, ew, I don't even like her. She's actually really ugly. You know what I mean? And that's that point of it being personal interaction out on the street, throwing things at each other, lighting things on fire, getting in trouble, riding our bikes, getting hurt. That is all in here. All of it has been compressed into the minds of children. And I'm so glad you said to give them grace, because I have some teenagers on my end too, and I just want to lock them in a metal cage. Yes. But that doesn't help them either, because I know what restriction does. My mom restricted me, and it made me crazier when I came out of that box. So there's a fine line. Kevin, go ahead. Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that. So.
Well, and I was so immersed in what you were saying, I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry. I was having these flashbacks about like thinking about kids at home inside, even when you go places, everyone's on a screen.
Well, I was stuck on the fact that when you were a little kid, you thought you were ugly. That just made no sense.
My mom raised me like a little tomboy, so I was not the girly girls of the girls, and I always thought I was different for it. But I tell you what, now that I grow up, I am so thankful for how different I am as a person. But that's because I learned who I was. I used to hate it, and now I don't. And when you can fully absorb your identity, it's actually a lot easier. Life is happier, and it's so much more full of love. And you see all these little tiny things every day that fulfill you, so you don't have to seek it. I know it seems insane. It did to me too, but I figured it out. And so life is just a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
And isn't that the key? Isn't our mission here to live a great life every day? And to really enjoy who we are? And if you don't know who you are, how do you know when you've changed, or what to do, or how to be? Because if you don't know who you are, and then you have no earthly concept of who you could be. Is that fair, Beechy?
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you, it has to go back to what you said earlier. We gotta quiet the noise and the distractions. See, distraction it's It's an action word. Distraction is an action word. I mean, it's dis. We're we're dis. I mean, we're not taking action in the right direction, if you will. It's a dis. It's distraction is a negative word. You're taking away from. I like to think of the word distraction as we're taking away from the action that we need to be doing. Dis is it's removing the action items that we need to be doing in life so that we can find our identity. So don't be distracted. But here's the deal. Like I said earlier, have grace on these young teenagers or adults. I mean, us as adults are distracted too. We're social media addicted too as adults. I'm not putting the teenagers in over here and then putting me over here and saying I'm perfect or whatever. That's absolutely not what I'm saying, because I get distracted and I get I get focused in on social media some days too, and start scrolling, and pretty soon it's like 15 minutes later. I'm like, what in the ever living world am I doing? What am I doing? This is absolutely what my plans were for the last 15, 20 minutes. But here's the deal. Never give up. Never give up on yourself or on your teenagers or on some other person that you want to help. Have compassion, have grace, because here's the deal. I'm alive today because somebody somewhere had grace and compassion with me numerous times already. Numerous times. Not only people on this planet, but also my God in heaven. I mean, I believe that. I believe in higher power. Not that you have to, or whoever's listening, that's fine. But I do. I believe that there's a higher power, and he's had a lot of grace and compassion on me. And so has my wife, my children, my employees, the people around me, because if they would have gave up on me, I wouldn't be alive today. So it is important to have compassion, but yet still seek truth.
Well, and it's a long-term project, all of this stuff, because nothing, it would be so cool. Well, we need to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about this, because this is really interesting, because it would be so cool if we could snap our fingers and all of a sudden we're like Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. And sadly, it just doesn't work like that, and it takes time, effort, and grace, and a faith, whatever your faith is, and a belief in whatever you believe, but you have to believe in it in a positive way. And we'll be right back. At least that's my opinion. We'll be right back right after our halftime break, because it's Super Bowl weekend coming up, and this is our halftime break.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to BrushwoodMediaNetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin. Brichello's right there, and she's the dancing queen. I think that's a song somewhere. And Glenn Beechy is our guest. He is a coach. And describe Mr. Beechy. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's a coach, and he helps people learn.
I would say, I'm going to use his exact words because I put it in my notes. And this is for everybody. Work with him if you're ready to have compassion and seek truth. That's all that I would wrap that around, because both of those two things usually come down to the nitty gritty and end up butting heads in the end. So having both of those is really where you probably can find your identity. So you can work with him by going to his website, which is royalty-coaching.com. And also, he has a book out, A Warrior's Path to Freedom. Mr. Beechy, what is this book about?
What it's about, it's really a men's workbook. It's not a real thick book. I mean, it's, I don't know, 80 pages. Not even sure now, but
Not 300, that's for sure.
no, it's a men's workbook. It's like you have questions and then you journal the answer.
Oh, cool.
And the questions are deep questions. They're not surface questions, because surface questions never did anybody any good long term. Period. End of story.
Can you give us a question from the two things? First of all, did you come up with this idea at 3:00 in the morning? Number one. And number two, can you give us a question from the workbook that gives us a representative example of what you'll find when you buy that book?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I came up with wanting to write this book, and I'm going to be writing more books in the future. That's my goal and my plan anyway. But this was just kind of a start. And the reason I wanted to write this book is because it gets kind of a long story, but I'm going to condense it and just give you a brief, because I talk about it in the book. But in the front of the book, I talk about some of my own life story, real true happenings of my own life that I experienced when I left home at 17 years old. I left home at 17 years old, a very hateful, unforgiving piece of work. And I left home on very bad terms with my family, with my parents and other family members, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I left home so that I could get away from my problems, right? You know, at a 17 years old, you think that. I left home with $10 in my pocket and a bag of clothes, and I ran off and never told anybody. Besides, I told one of my brothers where I was going, but I didn't want no one else to know. So I ran off, and in the process of that, carrying, we talked about emotional freedom here. I don't know, the last time we talked about emotional freedom. And that we should do a podcast about emotional freedom sometime. Anyway, I learned in the process over the next, from 17 to 21, that 4-year span, I learned a lot in my life about emotional freedom and how emotions will manifest in the physical with health problems if you don't deal with your emotions correctly and call it what it is. So one question in here, reflect on a recent situation where you avoided taking responsibility. What were the consequences, and how could you have handled it better?
Rochelle, I'm not going to answer that. Can you want to answer that?
I actually can't relate to that because I did take responsibility. So
Well, I can assure you that we live in a society that they don't want to take responsibility.
it was hard. It's still eating me alive. Yes.
Well, heck no, nobody wants to take responsibility, because that means that to take responsibility for something you did wrong, that you need to, or you could, if you chose to, create some positive action to correct what it is that you did that was wrong. But in order to admit that you're wrong, you have to, admit that you're wrong. And most of us are taught never to admit that you're wrong, because then you have to live up to what. Do you follow what I'm saying here, anybody?
Yeah. Here's one. Reflect on past moments where you relied too heavily on external validation. What did you learn? See, that was one of the questions in the book.
Yeah.
When we rely too much, or we want to rely too much on external validation, I can guarantee you we will come up short as far as being fulfilled. I'm telling you, you got to find fulfillment and validation, if you will, in the little things in life, like you were saying earlier, Brachelle, the little things. You got to find fulfillment in the little things in life before you will, how would I say, before you will get more. You got to be you got to be faithful in the little before you will get more. Validation starts right in here. It's within. But if we don't know who we are, it's pretty hard to do. To find any fulfillment in anything. We don't even know who we are. We're constantly looking out there somewhere. I need to make my next $100,000. I need to make my next $1 million to find validation. Then I will be happy. I need to go buy a bigger house, and then I will be happy. I need to go do my next big business deal, and then I will be happy. I need to go buy my next fast car to add to my car collection. Then I'll be happy. I need to go get remarried because I married the wrong person. Then I'll be happy. I need to go get a different wife. Then I'll be happy. I'm just saying these are things that I have personally dealt with. Everything that I mentioned here. I'm telling you. That's expectation.
Well, it's a false premise. The premise is that I'm not good enough now, but when I get that pretty wife or that prettier wife or that next big car that I can drive down the street and everybody goes, oh, look, there he goes in that car, or whatever it is, that's all a false premise.
Yeah.
But don't you have to at the fundamental level, don't you have to love yourself first before you can do anything else, either internally or externally? You need to, if you choose to, you can love yourself completely and unconditionally. And if you do that, isn't that the beginning of changing everything?
Absolutely, dude. I am telling you, talk about this for another couple hours on this stuff that we're talking about. I could talk to you for a really long time, Kevin and Brachelle. Anyway, if you don't love yourself first, you can't give away what you don't have. If you have love for yourself, how are you going to love anyone else around you? That's just period, end of story. If you don't love yourself, you can't give away love because you don't have love for yourself. You hate yourself. You don't know your own identity. How are you going to? It's just, I used to not love myself. Well, the question was, what are you going to do? What are you going to do starting right now or tomorrow? Not next week or next year. What are you going to do now to start the process of loving yourself? You're going to make different choices. You're going to stop drinking so much whiskey every night to try to drown your problems, because I used to do that. That's a real thing for me. I still love whiskey as I sit here right now, but I don't drink whiskey every day like I used to because it's not a good idea. Hello.
I used to drink whiskey and then I started falling down, and it wasn't good.
Mine's the rum. I don't know what it is, but it's that same concept. And I realized that I was that person when I started being around those other people, Beechy. I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's what I look like, showing up every night to the bar or knowing everybody at the liquor store and all these things. Not saying that's bad, but in the sense of where my mind was wrapped around it. And as you were talking, I have to share with you how, like, many of us hear these things, but it doesn't click. And I think maybe it clicked differently for me in the perspective you gave, because you can be the same person with or without anything that you have. So if you get all these things, you're still unhappy because you're the same person. You just have different things, maybe more or less or whatever it is. But internally, nothing changes because of your identity and who you are. It doesn't fulfill that. And I have to share with you that I experienced this literally overnight last night. I woke up this morning and I just thought to myself, I all of a sudden just feel unfulfilled. My stomach felt sick. My heart was hurting. I couldn't sleep. And I'm thinking, well, what is going on that is making me feel like this? And I thought, it's me. I'm giving myself and I'm doing all these things, and I've got these trips coming up, and I'm meeting these people, and I'm doing all these amazing things, and everything on the outside became so big that I thought to myself, what about me? Like, I've been invited to go do things this weekend and hang out and keep on keeping on and keep going. But I realized that if I don't take a step back to give myself those little things and stay connected to who I am, I'm going to lose it. And I'm thankful to sit and have that awareness that I didn't have before, because it shows me the growth I have achieved that I wasn't aware of, that keeps me connected to knowing who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So it's quite the process. And yeah, it can be harsh when you sit down and look straight face to face with yourself and say, okay, what's going on? But oh my God, it is so worth it, because it feels like, you say, it's freedom. You feel instantly free.
Yeah.
And Beechy, you are so right, because if I don't know if you go to the grocery store, being a rich entrepreneur like yourself, but you probably have somebody else who does that for you. But if you went to the grocery store and you looked at the wine aisle, which is 2 or 3 aisles, or the liquor aisle, which is 3 or 4, or the beer aisle, and then it is so pervasive in our society that, let me give you a real quick personal story from last night. My son has been diagnosed with a chronic disorder he's going to need to take medication for the rest of his life. And the first thing out of his head was when he said, yeah, I've been diagnosed, and the first thing he said was, I can't drink anymore. And I said, who cares? It doesn't define you. Nobody is going to define you by the fact that you're not carrying around a Budweiser. What's the matter with you? Here, have a Bud and stuff, or have some Jack Daniels. I'll bet you Jack Daniels was your poison, wasn't it? Or was it?
It was Crown Royal back in the day.
Oh. That sounds so good.
Crown. Are you kidding me? I don't buy expensive booze because I'm just going to drink it and stay anyway. So we need to take our last break, and we're talking with Glenn Beechy and Brachelle. If we want to get a hold of him, he's a delightful man. I love when we make you smile. That lights up the room, Glenn.
Yes.
Brachelle?
Yes, go to his website and feel the power. We're talking about royalty-coaching.com. He's got everything there about him, what to expect, book a discovery call, which I love he has there. And also his book, people, it's going to be coming out on his website, so keep an eye out for that as well. A Warrior's Path to Freedom, which is now available also on Amazon and some other places. So we'll be right back.
There is a moment most leaders never talk about. The strategy is sound, the team is capable, and yet something feels off. That moment is not failure. It's a signal that structure and humanity have drifted apart. Calm is often misunderstood. It is not passive. It is not disengaged. It is not soft. Calm is what allows us to see clearly when others react. This is the work I've spent decades doing, helping leaders navigate hard conversations with intention and guiding organizations back into alignment. If this resonates, you're not alone, and I'd love to connect.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and Miss Bottle of Rum in her hand is right there. Brachelle, how are you, Brachelle?
I'm good. Speaking of that, my friend, she said, I'm going to start learning to crochet some other things, and gave me a booklet, and I picked the Kraken. And just because I thought it'd be the cutest thing. But we have Glenn Beechy here with us today. He is an author, a coach, an inspiration. Glenn, I really just had this like screaming in my head. I really want to ask you your perspective on discipline, because Kevin has brought to my awareness that I've been saying again a lot of I need to do this and I need to do that and blah, 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 and it's almost like I've recognized that stalls me from doing those things. But when it comes to discipline, how do you teach people to approach that and absorb it?
You know, it's crazy you bring that up. It really is crazy you bring this up, and I'll tell you why. We didn't preface this question, okay? If the listeners think we prefaced this, we didn't, because here's what I was going to do next. Now that we're back from the last break here, I have something here that I'm about to show you, and I was going to ask for you guys' permission. Now that you say that, I already have permission. Anyway, let me say this first. I want to go back to when I was talking about alcohol, okay? Because if I was still an alcoholic and I would listen to this podcast right now, I might judge me a little bit for talking so much against alcohol, okay? Here's the deal. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Now, maybe not, okay, I said everything, but let me back up a little bit. Fun in life should be over the top. So maybe not that in moderation, but everything else in moderation. But always have a lot of fun, because that's how. The reason I say everything in moderation about the alcohol thing is because I still drink whiskey to this day, but I don't drink it very often. I make it more of a treat now, because when you do something every day or you do it, overindulge it, you don't appreciate it anymore. So there's no discipline. Now, discipline. Let me show you this, Rochelle. I have to send you, maybe.
Well, you asked for it, Rochelle, and here it comes.
Here.
I love that.
And for those of you that are not watching this, that are listening to this, he is holding up pulled it from a scabbard, and he's got a rather large sword.
The fact that it says discipline and freedom on it, and that's literally what I just said. I'm like, gotta give myself one of those.
Discipline equals
beautiful
freedom.
So what's the story behind that sword?
Discipline equals freedom. See, and then on the other side it says, let me get it here. Warrior mindset.
Oh, Mr. Beechy, when you get your I don't know if you can, but if you are able to sell that online, even if it's a plastic sword, then that has the writing on it, that needs to be in your offering in your store.
It will be.
Is that the sword on the back of the T-shirt?
Yeah, there's two swords on the back. Hold on, just a sec. Let me show you a T-shirt that I'm not wearing so that you can read it. Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Kevin, I'm telling you, if those swords go missing from his house, it was me. Talk about taking responsibility.
Well, and you would just love to put that on the wall of your house.
To come through my door with that in my hand.
And what is your destiny? Is this, and it's got a couple of swords.
Kevin, your favorite word.
Integrity, valor.
Oh,
I do love those words, and I love what they actually mean. Integrity is something, and
shirts.
Oh, yeah. That needs to be in your store, and because integrity is something that we talk about, but integrity can be hard sometimes, because now you have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want to tell the truth, because the truth can be ugly if you've done something ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, the 7100. The thing is, integrity is hard sometimes. It's it's what we do when no one's looking. It's doing the right thing when that's not always easy.
The integrity tied down with discipline as well, because if you're not disciplined, you're not being very integral. Is that a word?
Integrous.
Ooh, that's even better. I didn't even know that existed. But what does it all really come down to? The fine line of your identity that you found.
You mean with integrity versus identity and all the things like
Just
that.
in it all, discipline, integrity, respect, honesty, all of it. Like, if you could define it, what does it come down to? Like, where's the starting point, I guess?
I think the starting point really to finding your identity was, for me, okay, I'm not saying this is universal, but it was for me, was discipline. It started with discipline, because when you make a promise to yourself and then you live it out, regardless of hell or high water, you live it out. You become true to yourself. Now you believe in yourself. Now you love yourself because you followed through with your goal, what you told yourself that you were going to do. And once you love yourself, you start disciplining yourself to reach your goal. Now you become confident, because when you discipline, it builds on itself. You become confident. You start loving yourself, and now, just like we said earlier, fear has buddies, but faith and integrity has buddies too. Discipline has buddies. You know, all those powerful words have buddies. You know, like I got written up there, sword. I don't know if you can read that. Sword equals words. Can you read that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
See, it's the exact same words, just positioned differently. You put
It's like race car.
You put the S in front of word, then you get a sword, right? So there's power in words. Every word has buddies. Discipline has buddies, which one of them is freedom. That's why I put that on a sword. That's why I wrote that on this sword, because discipline equals freedom. Right after discipline comes freedom. Once you apply discipline long enough, freedom comes. Freedom is right next to truth. Again, going back to the truth thing. Truth hurts for a while. Discipline isn't fun. Discipline is not sexy. Discipline is not fun. But what is fun is the freedom that it brings later. It's so fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, really, and by the way, our Kiberia Restoring Hope Center, Rochelle
says, congratulations, watching and listening keenly this inspirational favorite program. We love you, love you, love you. Long time. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for tuning in with us.
And we're talking about discipline, and I want to throw this out there. We just went through New Year's, and one of the things people do at New Year's is, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. And I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to quit sugar. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to quit doing all of, and if you can accomplish some of those, then you are proud of yourself, and that becomes a real positive. But now we're entering into February, and a lot of people who joined the gym in January have stopped going now in February because it's not easy, and so they're not proud of themselves because they don't have the discipline, and so we start making excuses for our behavior because we don't want to face the fact that we don't have enough discipline to make these things happen. Is that kind of true, Mr. Beechy?
Yeah, it totally is true. Totally dead on. And that's why an accountability partner is very important. Accountability partners are very important to achieve your goals, your New Year's resolution, whatever that may be. But here's the other thing that's important that I've learned for myself. Make it fun. Make it fun in some way, shape, or form, this discipline thing that you got to do in order to achieve your goal. Make it so that it's fun, so that you look forward to it, at least one part of it. Make it fun to the point where you want to do it. And if you have an accountability partner, get an accountability partner that is how would I say, not not doesn't let you off the hook, but at the same time has compassion on you when you do screw up, that they lift you up and encourage you. But at the same time, you can't have an accountability partner that's just a friend. They can be a coach.
Yep.
They gotta, I mean, get a coach if you need to, and pay a coach if you're really serious about achieving your goals. Now, I want to go back to something you said a minute ago, Brachelle. You said you have a lot of things in your life that you keep saying, I need to, this, that, and the other. See, what I do, what my coach tells me to do, told me to do for years already, and it's very powerful because there's power in words. Going back to the sword versus words. Words are powerful. Words create. Words are just, I mean, life and death is the power of the words. So I would encourage you to change that wording. My coach, Carmen O'Quinn, you can find her on Facebook, actually. She's on Instagram, Facebook, etc. She's a coach. She's a crazy serial coach, and she is very successful. Carmen O'Quinn and her husband, Jackie O'Quinn, they both are coaches of mine. What they say is, don't say I need to accomplish this, is say I will. Switch the wording. It switches that switches your brain to I will. I will achieve such whatever it is, whatever your goal is. I will lose this much weight if you're somebody that wants to lose weight. Or the reason that comes to my mind is because Carmen is a weight loss coach, and she has crazy good success with her coaching. I will do this in 2026, whatever it is. I will, and fill in the blank.
Well, I will invite Beechy back to do this again with us. But unfortunately, young man, we've run out of time. And Brachelle, you get to close the show.
Yes. Well, thank you, Kevin, as always, for making this possible. Thank you, Glenn Beechy, for spending your time with us and being an inspiration, putting the work into yourself, and now being able to share that. People, get some fun in your discipline. And if you're competitive like me, trust me, it's fun. It's like you're in competition with yourself all the time. So go to royalty-coaching.com and also watch out for his book and his merch, which will be on the website, but for now is on Amazon, A Warrior's Path to Freedom. Mr. Beechy, I cannot wait to have you back. And until then, we love you all. I would love for you to come back and share the inspirational message about some other things that we have.
Emotional freedom. That's
yes,
next.
That's the one. There we go.
So I want to thank everybody for being here. And Brachelle, you are sensational as always. And Beechy, I love the lion, the hat, and the swords. Ooh, there's another book title. We'll be back with another show. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.